Hey, good morning, everybody, and it's good to be here. Let me start by really asking you to introspect and check with yourself if all of you in this room have looked up to the sky and wondered what it would be like to fly, to be in the big blue with the birds. And I believe every one of us have had that dream, every single one of us. Along the way, we get told, you can't be a pilot, you can't be an astronaut, look at your marks. and as you grow up, often those dreams fade away and you just get on with life. For me, that dream never went away. I always dreamt of flying, I always dreamt of being in the big blue sky, and blindness was something that happened along the way. But simply because I went blind, my dreams didn't go away. Yeah, blind people do dream, yeah. and I said, where is the evidence that blind people can't fly? So what if I'm blind and I still have a dream to fly? I thought in my head it made sense that since there was nobody I knew who was blind and didn't fly, there was no evidence that we had failed. I said, why not? Interestingly, it took me 7 years of asking 3 instructors every single day to help me learn how to fly. Every one of them would just shut their doors on me or say, this is not possible, or we'll give you a joyride, but we don't think blind people can fly. And every single day, I kept asking 3 people. I only told myself one thing: what's the worst that'll happen? Nothing really, but the best that could happen, of course, besides someone accepting, was that I'll become amazing at taking rejection. And we all like to be good at that, right? It'd be nice to be super good at taking rejections, that nothing can keep you down. And finally, one day I met an instructor by the name of Avi Malik, and he said, why not? If you can think about it, if you can dream it, it should be possible. How many of you believe that that was crazy and suicidal and of course, inspirational? So let me tell you, I took lesser risk than most people take when driving on the roads. Very few people die in aircraft accidents. Millions of people die in road accidents. So what I did was I really took the chicken way out. And when you look at it as inspirational, ask yourself, is it inspirational simply because I'm the only one? Can you imagine a world where blind pilots is a norm? And if blind pilots was a norm, would what I did remain inspirational? And that's the world I dream of. That's the world I see, where every single person has the same opportunities as everybody else. Because when I went blind, the very first thing I realized was that my blindness was just a medical condition. Nothing more, nothing less, just the fact that I can't see. It's just a medical condition. But the challenges I faced in adjusting to my life as a person with disability, as somebody who's blind, the challenges were that of attitudinal barriers from the mainstream society, of shame, of stigma. And the handicaps that came were not as a result of my disability. The handicaps were a social construct. Let me explain what I mean by social construct. The fact that I did not have accessible education, the fact that I was not allowed to pursue certain courses, the fact that there are no wheelchair ramps for people in wheelchairs, the fact that there are no braille books or audio books, the fact that videos are not described, all these are the way we have created the world. And if we have created the world, then we all are responsible for it. And that's the social construct, which is the real handicap. Now, people in the mainstream They're not evil people. They're not like, this is amazing. Let's not build a ramp and see what happens. No, they're not evil. They're good people, but they just don't know. And they don't know because people with disability are the largest invisible minority population in the world. We are 200 million of us in this country, 1.3 billion around the world. That's 1 in every 20. 1 person in every 20 person has some form of disability. But do you see us around? Do you see us in leisure places, in schools, in education setups, in restaurants, in public parks, in workspaces? You just don't see us around. And you don't see us around because of 2 reasons. Either because we are locked away because of shame and stigma, or because there is no accessible infrastructure for us to participate in mainstream society. And what this invisibility does is it creates more ignorance, it does not create opportunities, and it's just a vicious cycle. Just imagine if a friend of mine, she uses a wheelchair, she had admission to one of the most premier institutes. But guess what? She couldn't go because the public transport was inaccessible. And the fact that she couldn't attend her university meant she didn't get a degree, meant she didn't get a job, meant that just many, many steps behind. And we all are responsible for this world that we create. So that's the core thing that I realized early on. And I realized, how can we change this world? How can we make it more inclusive? How can we change people's beliefs where they believe what we can or cannot do? How can we change people's misconceptions and biases they hold? And to me, it was an amalgamation of many, many things. One, of course, my love for the human mind and psychology, my experiences as a blind person and my early experiences of a blind person when I was told you can or cannot do this, and my love for sports. And I said, how about if we combine all of these and we get people to play together as equals, get people with and without disability to come and play together, to dialogue, to interact, then magic will happen, because you discover more about a person than an hour of play than a year of conversation. And I'm sure all of you can relate to this, because as children, when we play together, we don't discriminate. We don't think, oh, this is a boy, a girl, a Hindu, a Muslim, dark, fair, fat, thin. We do none of those discriminations. We just embrace our differences and we play together. We fight and we make up and we come back again the next day. And somewhere I felt that sport had the power to unite people, to give hope, to inspire. And we set up a not-for-profit, Adventures Beyond Barriers, where we got people with and without disability to do things the world has considered impossible. Where we climbed the highest mountains in the world, we went scuba diving in the deepest of deep seas, we went running marathons, ultra marathons, we did flying, we did cycling to the highest points in the world, long distance cyclings, non-stop races, all kinds of things that the world said is impossible. And we did it with all kinds of disabilities and able-bodied people together as a team. And in the process, people learned about each other. In the process, they built friendships. And those deep friendships brought about organic change. Because it is this same people from mainstream society who are CEOs and MDs and HRs, architects, education heads, teachers. They went back to their circle of influence. They went back to their worlds and said, hey, you know what? I now know so much more about persons with disability. They're my friends, and we just need to think differently to be able to include them as in all walks of our lives. In the process, we looked at the business case for disability inclusion and soon realized that there's a huge return on investment when businesses become more diverse, when businesses become more inclusive, when businesses look at people with disability as consumers. We realize the tipping point can come much sooner. This world can change much faster once businesses embrace it. This is the only case for capitalism I can think of, but that's true. If capitalism could bring 2 billion people out of poverty, capitalism and businesses can also help people with disability to elevate their lives, to create opportunities. Wouldn't it be amazing if this world was full of this empathy, where we celebrated differences? What a different world it would be, where we include everybody and nobody's left behind. That's the world I dream of, because there are only 2 kinds of people that I know of: people with disability and people who haven't found out about their disability yet. So when we talk about this inclusion, when we talk about inclusion for persons with disability, it really is for everybody. It's for me today. It's for your future selves. And for me, I know only one thing. If not me, who? If not now, when? Let's together build a more inclusive world. Thank you.